So, alright. let's let's pause for a moment and think about like what's the story so far? This is just a refresher for me as well. But it's kinda like in the very beginning we woke up in the mansion. Right? And we didn't know what we were, who we are, where we were and everything. There was a creepy maid, that showed up and said, "Hey, you're my master." And I'm like, "What?" So eventually the maid led us into a garden, and now we're having this weird flashback sequence. That's kind of like time travel, to be honest. We're jumping all the way back to the past to see a story about Mel and Nellie in the 1600s, I believe. So around like, I'm trying to think. Like I think I looked it up a little bit between recordings, and I'm like, the 1600s is kind of like the late Renaissance era. That's when Shakespeare got popular, and I believe it's taking place in England. Because why would they refer to as the Golden Age? That's usually from the perspective of someone from from like an English historian. So I believe they are in England. But yeah, we're following a story with Mel and Nellie. They're like siblings in the royal family, it seems, from a family of nobility. A white-haired girl came by, became their maid. Mel fell in love with her, And as it turns out, the white-haired girl actually wanted to get revenge on his family because she's a daughter of a painter that had his life ruined and also eventually, passed away because of Mel's family, which is, I believe, the Rhodes family, I think. In the Rose Manor, I guess, is what most of this is going on in. But as she tries to assassinate him, I guess, he was like, yeah, you don't really want to kill me, And then she's like, yeah, I actually don't want to kill you. And then they fall in love, it seems. At least, they started dating at the very least, despite her trying to kill him. But then, as it turns out, there's this love triangle with Nellie, a little girl right here, because she really likes her brother. More than just sibling love, it seems, I guess. I don't know how she can make that distinction when she's like 14. I feel like she's exaggerating a little, She really gained a little bit more perspective if she grows older, I guess. But she was really obsessed with Mel. And it made her even more obsessed when Mel ended up with the white-haired girl, which we still don't know her name of, but I just call her white-haired lady, girl, whatever. But then at the very end, at least, well, at the end of the most recent chapter, I guess, she goes a little kooky, did something to the white-haired girl, took her hair, wore it as a wig, went to Mel's room, and went all yandere, That's basically what happened last time. And now we're doing like another, I guess, I don't know what we call it now, but like a meta flashback of a flashback, but really we were here before, technically, of them being kids again. So that's just to summarize everything so far. Let's continue, I guess. Anyway. Oh, here's Mel. Here you are again reading such hard books. Your eyes will go bad if you spend too long staring at pages. Well, is that true? Well, that's only true if you, try to read books at night, I guess. It causes a little eye strain, maybe? I don't know if that's a myth, though. That could be a myth. I know, like, for example, if you stare at a computer screen for a long time, that it's a myth that your eyes will go bad, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'll be fine, Ellie. It's not like I'm reading 24 hours a day. No, that's not good enough. If your eyes go bad, dear Mel, you won't be able to see me anymore. You worry too much. I can see you fine and well, my princess. Your hair glimmering like the sun and your beautiful smile. I can see you clear as day and that'll never change. Plus the skies are clear today, so you're even more radiant than usual. This is my favorite season. Winter is cold and there's so much rain, I can't stand it. Well, I hate all seasons. but as it gets closer to my birthday, the clouds go away, and I just adore the sun. Ah yes, it's almost your birthday, isn't it? Have you decided what you're gonna ask Father for? Not yet. I want pretty dolls and shoes and sparkling gems. I also want a pretty dress like the one Mother wears. A list that long is asking a bit much, even for Father. But But dearest Mel, I already have what I want the most. So the truth is, as long as I have that, I don't need anything else. Oh, and what would that be? The hairpin they bought for you the other day? Or maybe the song they had written for you last year? Now that, dearest Mel. Then what could it be? Now I'm really curious. What is it that's so valuable to you? Notice the background, by the way, is getting redder. Oh, that's a secret. Yeah, girls have so many secrets. I just don't know what to do. Say, dearest Mel, would you run your fingers through my hair? Just for a little bit. What's gotten into you, Nelly? Why are you so hungry for attention all of a sudden? Please, dearest Mel. Oh, Nelly, what am I going to do with you? Come over here. Hehehe. And I want to sit in your lap. Yes, yes, as you wish, my beautiful, beautiful little princess. Say, dearest Mel. What is it this time, Nelly? Right now, I'm so incredibly happy. Alright. Oh, and out of curiosity, who was it that you really cared so much about? I wonder who said that, though. I'm not sure. Sometimes you can't tell who's talking. It doesn't really specify, so I'm not sure. Sometimes it's the narrator, sometimes it's actually the person speaking before, but... Mel apparently is running in the rain, in the darkness. In a fever frenzy, Mel fled for the mansion. Even in early summer, the night was cold. And to make matters worse, raindrops pelted him from head to toe. But that caused him little discomfort, for a far greater maelstrom of pain rampaged within his breast. At night, the town took on a different appearance. Not simply for lack of illumination, but the people active within it as well. It was not a suitable place for a young, aristocratic man to go wandering unattended. The darkness is not only the abode of devils, but of beggars, thieves, criminals, and all manner of things undesirable. But despite that, he continued to run, not knowing where he was to head. He simply went where his feet took him, and where he arrived was the church. Father! Father! God should be able to offer me counsel. To answer all my questions. About that painting, about her and about Nelly's feelings. Not her lies, but the truth. Please, open the door. Open the door! But as you might expect, the door was locked, and the priest showed no sign of responding to his calls. Oh yeah, I actually forgot, there's a gap in when I record these. But I also forgot that, as it turns out, by the way, the white-haired girl is also kind of like his half-sister, because the painting, or rather the painter that got kicked out of the mansion in the first place, had a little affair with his mother, I guess. Which is, that's already kind of, a little shocking, but also more shocking probably in the context of the 1600s, when you're like a part of like a royal family, because blood means a lot of things, legally speaking, whether or not you own land and stuff like that. So there's a lot of emphasis on whether or not you belong to a royal family and stuff, because that controls whether or not you inherit certain things. Anyway, the sound of the pouring rain drowned out everything else. His head dropped feebly. He looked like a helpless little cow who had wandered alone onto a dark, precarious mountain path with no end in sight. Why won't anyone tell me the truth? All I want is for someone to tell me it's not true. Have I sinned? No, I didn't know anything. I didn't know. Oh, none of it's true, so I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not at fault, am I? Nevertheless, his sister's claims and her laughs continued to echo within his head. If he truly believed it to be false, he would have gone to look at the painting. That he could not was an indication that uncertainty has a stronger grip on him. I would think he would go to the white-haired girl first, What happened to her? Something happened to her. She's either bald or dead and... I said before, I remember saying it before. She's either bald or she's bald and dead, is all I'm saying. So you should probably go look for her before the corpse, starts smelling. Anyway, fragmented images of a white hair painter flooded through the back of his mind, but he desperately shoved them aside. What good is the church? What good is theology? What good is God? Blasphemy. You can't say that, Mel. What? Something moved near the boy. It stood immediately behind him and grasped his light dressing gown. He had been so consumed in his own world that he had not noticed the person's presence until they were close enough to touch him. What? Who are you? Said there was a beggar dressed in tattered rags. Oh, it was just a beggar. I was thinking it was a priest, but I guess the priest. I don't know if the priest lives in the church though. Is he sleeping or maybe he's somewhere else? It was actually the beggar. Are you still begging of the church? The hooded beggar tentatively extended his hand toward Mel, pleading for relief with sad, slender fingers. Were he a generous young man, Mel would have given the beggar something. Were he generous, of course. Lord, get your filthy hands off me, you pleb. I don't have a damn thing to give you right now. Don't you dare touch me. Suddenly, the beggar's head turned upward. My eyes catch the beggar's. Her hood fell back, revealing a hairless head. Why? And a pair of red eyes gazing bitterly through with a familiar distinctive glimmer at Mel. Red eyes. She immediately covered her face and turned to run. Well, isn't that, revealing? Considering that, yeah, okay, so that's probably the white-haired girl. Well, she's not white-haired anymore, she's a bald girl now. Though it depends on how good was Nelly with her scissors. I don't imagine, a very even shave was done. But, maybe. I mean, I guess you have to use a knife, obviously, modern electric shaving isn't really available in the Renaissance era. But anyway. But that's kind of revealing actually, because usually he does give alms to the poor and everything, but as it turns out, not right now. And the white-haired girl definitely was a beggar, right, for quite a while. I don't know if she's the same beggar as before actually. I don't think so, but she was a beggar for a while. And so him treating her like that, it's probably terms for breaking up, is all I'm saying. She immediately covered her face and turned to run. It can't be. The beggar that's always been here was a... But you said yourself that they would not survive much longer. Oh, maybe they were, actually. Maybe they were this whole time. But I'm trying to think, what's the timeline, actually? When they were a beggar, were they working as a maid at the house? Because I was thinking she was working as a maid already, and then he already met the beggar at the church. Unless maybe, if you were paying attention, maybe they weren't at the same place. Or either that, or she was actually disguised as a beggar sometimes. I don't know, she just, on her free time, she goes to a church to beg. But anyway, it says not to survive much longer, but how could you be certain that she was that same beggar? Wait for me. Perhaps as someone of such high social standing, all beggars appear the same to you. Or perhaps you want to believe your meager generosity made a difference, and you did have something of value. I would not say it is wrong to think so. Wait for me! I chase after the fleeing girl. Though I shout for her to stop, she continues to run. The rain is so heavy, I'm afraid I might lose her. I'm terrified. But I didn't do anything wrong, did I? I'm begging you, please, stop. Well, ironic that you're begging. I just want to talk. She comes to a stop at the corner. Please, do not go around this corner. It's you, isn't it? I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing? What I said back there was terrible. For that I am truly sorry. I didn't realize it was you. Please, come back to me. If you're concerned about social status, I'll figure something out. And Nellie's getting married off soon enough, and... Oh yes, Nellie. Nellie did some horrible things to you. She's lost her mind. She was talking nonsense. But don't worry, she'll be out of the picture soon enough. Oh, this is speaking about pictures, I guess. About the painting. I'll make sure you're safe. Say something, please. Are you angry? You're angry, aren't you? I'm not angry. You. I'm not. Did you know everything? Did you come to our house aware of everything? What? Did you? Tell me, please. The priest isn't around. Everything Nellie says is a lie. You're the only one who will tell me it's not true. What are you... Our relationship? I don't understand what you're saying. I see. You don't know. You don't know. It's for the best, then. Hehe. Nellie's the only one who knows, and she'll be gone before long. Everything will be alright. What do you mean she'll be gone? Lord Mel. It'll all be alright. Let's go back. I'll make sure you're never put in danger again. I'm begging you, stay with me. My appearance is no longer suitable to stand your side. Well, I guess we'll just have to get you a wig. You know, you could use the same wig that Nellie, trimmed off your head, maybe. You saw how unsightly I am back at the church, did you not? Hair can grow back. That's not a problem. Yeah, hair can grow back. Now I truly look the part of the hideous witch. But I am to blame. It was a sin for me to find happiness in your kindness. What are you talking about? My sin was falling in love with you. Not what happened to my father, nor how we had to spend our days. There's no sin in that. We have our whole lives ahead of us, don't we? With enough time, this whole tragic mess will be behind us. Things will only get better from here. Things will only get better from here. Quote that, and let's see if that's true, We'll look back on this scene and see if things truly get better from here. Maybe. We'll see. I'll be your prince, like the one who took the girl to see the outside world. So please, give me your hand. Come to me. Don't leave me all alone. I need you by my side. Please. I extend my hand around the corner. I sense her hesitating beyond the bend. I'm begging you. A lot of begging you're doing. I imagine I assume the original language is Japanese. Actually, not sure. I'm just assuming it is. But I don't know if he's using the specific word begging. It's just ironic that he's saying that to a beggar. I can't see what's on the other side, but a vision of her reaching out to put her hand in mine wells up in my mind. But that story never had an ending. What? She doesn't take my hand. I doubt the girl ever wrote that letter. She's not there when I turn the corner. Why? How did things end up like this? Where did I go wrong? Oh God. What's up, maid? You weird, suspicious maid. That's probably like part of the mansion, more than anything else. Not like a real person. Maybe the spirit of the mansion itself. Maybe. Anyway, your error was likely your kindness, thoughtlessly, haphazardly spreading your generosity. But that generosity came from your own desire to avoid pain, for your own happiness. What should I have done? I can't take this. Everyone was happy. Nellie used to laugh and smile. She once meant the world to me. How did things end up like this? It's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. If you pretend like nothing happened, then perhaps they can go on smiling in your head. But regardless, you must follow the path you tread. It is your path alone. The path you chose when in that moment you decide to run. Make the wrong choice in those moments and you shall find yourself on the road to ruin. I would have been better off not knowing, better off in the dark. I just wanted those tranquil days to last. They were supposed to last forever. At some point, your childhood must come to an end, and that ending may not be the one you anticipated. I can't stand this world. So edgy. You yearn for a world that would treat you with kindness. What should I do? What should I have done? Someone, please help me. You should return now. If you spend too long out here, you're liable to catch a cold. Now let us return to our own time. know, and she fades away somehow. Alright, are we back to present time? I guess I unlocked the achievement. I don't know what that means, but maybe we're done with that story? I'm not sure. Well, the crestfallen young man faded into the distance, and the decrepit double doors clacked shut. Through the shattered glass, you could only see the ruins of a garden, not a single rose growing within. You had evidently returned from the past. In the garden, weeds grew taller than people. You found it difficult to look at. A wolf howled in the distance. Awoo! The children, the sea of roses, and the white-haired girl were nowhere to be found. You and the maid who called you master were the only people present in the mansion. Okay, so now I'm wondering who the narrator is. Because they say you and the maid. So, like, the maid wouldn't call themselves the maid, would they? That'd be weird. So, like, it's another narrator that's just, I don't know, that's not the maid? Might not even be a person. Just in general. The actual, like, story narrator. I don't know. Anyway. What happened to them next? Oh, master, you would know better than I. My, you cannot remember? It seems this is quite serious then. Worry not, my loyalty lies with you, master. The mansion has witnessed more yet. Let us make our way to the second door. Your hand in hers, the maid guided you back through the kitchen and into the tea room. Her palms were still cold. You felt as though you were clenching ice. Master, do you wish to know the truth no matter what may be hidden within? Or, if it is something you'll be happier not knowing, would you rather remain in the dark? Is that so? I wonder about their father. Yes, the flaxen-haired sibling's father. Do you think he knew about the white-haired girl? If he did, then perhaps he allowed her to stay because of how deeply he loved his wife. Or maybe because he did not want people to find out about her. I expected he too experienced many different emotions, but those pages of his story remain untold. Their parents likely had a turbulent tale as well, but theirs is not of consequence, to whom I cannot tell you. You and the maid crossed through the entrance hall, continuing your trek. At some point, the fire in the fireplace had faded to embers, emphasizing the lack of light within the mansion. The maid took a candlestick and lit it in the cinders. The small flame illuminated her pale face. On a whim, you asked the maid about herself. About me? I am a maid devoted to your service, master, as I have said. Oh, what was that? You're interested in my name. You flatter me. I truly do appreciate the question, but you are more than welcome to simply call me the maid. Also, it would make me much happier to hear you say my name after you have recalled who you are, master. A subtle smile rose to the maid's face, after which she began to lead you down the first-floor corridor. Still holding the maid's hand, you passed in front of a full-length mirror. In it reflected the warm light of the candle, which disappeared out of the range shortly thereafter. Oh my, is something the matter? Did you come across something peculiar? She likes to giggle a lot. The maid had not appeared in the mirror, though she was not the only one without a reflection. Interesting. Apparently, she did not appear in the mirror, but that it also implies you also did not appear in the mirror, which means maybe, I don't know, we're either vampires or something else. Or maybe the mirror is just really dirty. But you reach the end of the corridor. There appeared to be a doorway, but the door itself was long since gone, leaving only a hole in the wall to frame the stairs behind it. Without hesitation, the maid descended into the darkness. You have more interest in this mansion, master, than a mere maid, do you not? Though it pains me to say as much in your presence, master, this house is cursed. Well, you don't say. Yes, it is a curse that runs deep. As you just bore witness to, the majority of those who dwell within these walls fall into misfortune. I've served here for many years, and periods of happiness are as fleeting as a sugar cube in a cup of hot tea. Why did such tragedies befall them? If I were to guess, master, it was because you had not returned. But when you remember your true self, the mansion's curse should be broken. The next door is before us. It appeared to be the entrance to a cellar. The disconsolate wooden door was visibly rotten in several places, and seemed it might crumble at a single touch. You could hear the sound of something devouring meat beyond the door. Num num num. Maybe there was a beast living within. Before you had a chance to say you thought it was dangerous, the maid opened the door with a chilling smile on her face. Your first impression was that it smelled of blood. Here's the second door. Okay, so there's the first door was about the siblings. I guess the second door... Well, we're in 1707, I guess. How do you say that? 1707? 177? The 1707? Well, the mansion sat in ruins in that era, not a soul resided within. So it's been like 100 years, actually. Yeah, it's been a century. The grandeur of the house was lost to the ages. It was in perpetual decline. Not a flower grew in the garden. Dust and dirt blackened the plaster. Cobwebs blanketed the corridors. Ivy shrouded the outer walls. It was not a pleasant sight. As hard as I tried to fight it, I could not stop the mansion's descent into disrepair. The depth of the previous owner's grief, or perhaps despair, was far too much. Okay? So I guess Mel, I imagine since 100 years ago, probably eventually inherited the mansion, but probably let it go to ruin because he was too depressed, he was too broken up about his, his girlfriend, I guess. Or whatever. And also, the fact that his sister was, like, weird. His sister was kind of... Well, after the beautiful flaxen hair family, people stayed away from the mansion. They had no heir, so their bloodline simply vanished into the depths of history. Okay. He didn't bother to marry. I mean, imagine though that's what happened. Well, I don't know what happened to them immediately after, but I imagine Mel was like, oh, woe is me, I guess. He didn't bother to remarry. Or he didn't even marry the white-haired girl, but he didn't bother to find someone to marry. And obviously, the sister is too, kooky, I guess, to find anyone for herself. So they just didn't bother to marry, I guess, is what happened. It had been about 50 years since the house last had a resident. The forlorn property appeared as though it had been abandoned for centuries, and the occasional villager who stumbled upon it did not remain there for more than a day. My time there was rather solitary. That was perhaps the loneliest time of my life. Everyone who visited the mansion feared it, and it was left without anyone to become its master. I even came to believe that my time serving as a maid would come to an end in this era. However, one day I noticed something out of the ordinary. Okay. So it seems like so far, I mean, I don't know how it's gonna be divided, but it seems so far the sibling story is just like its own thing, and now we just fast forward to like a different kind of story, maybe? So we're not really following Mel and Nellie anymore. Their story is done, at least so far, and now we're just gonna be following something else, maybe? A new master for the mansion, someone to take over it? As a servant of the house, I am almost immediately aware of any new presence within its walls, and there appeared to be someone downstairs. Can you imagine just how delighted I was? Though a part of me was anxious about what kind of person I might find, the possibility that it could be you had my heart aflutter. So resisting the urge to rush, I headed for the basement. The cellar was where red wine, smoked meat, and other preserved foods were kept. At that point, The wine was practically antique. As I had expected, a man had made his way into the cellar. Is anyone there? Although I am unsure if referring to him as a man is entirely accurate. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, XXXXXXX. Oh my. This is quite something. Alright, okay. Realistic eyes and realistic teeth on like a blurry shadow. The very first thing I sensed was an almost unbearable stench. The odor emanated from the man, heightened by the food he had carelessly rummaged through. Blood red liquid spilled from the wine barrel, soaking the floor. His sunken eyes had a piercing, wolf-like glimmer in them. His teeth were sharp and yellowed, visible as he ripped into a chunk of meat. He grumbled in a seemingly inhuman tongue. Are we going to werewolves? Is this werewolf time? I was looking at a beast. Or perhaps a half-beast. There was another source of odor in the room, though. It had something of a kind of a metallic tinge to it, and when I noticed this, I nearly passed out. Oh, you passed out? You know, I thought this maid would have a larger stomach. You know, she seems very creepy, but then I guess, you know, some things do shock her, I guess. Which is just weird to me. Well, the red liquor was not just wine, as I had assumed. The beast had, I presume, stolen a weapon from the village. A sword far too nice for him to lay on the floor by his side. I could hardly imagine how many people's lives he had taken with that blade. It was visibly wet with blood, even in the darkness of the cellar, but at the same time, it had an imposing gleam. I assume in the 1700s, that's like... Yeah, that's like close to, I believe, the Napoleon, right? The Napoleon era, maybe? I could be wrong, but I imagine the sword would be like a saber, right? Like a cavalry saber or something, but well, maybe not cavalry. It doesn't have to be, you know, cavalry saber, but you know, like a curved sword, right? Not to be mistaken with the other type of saber, which is a lightsaber from Star Wars, and also not to be mistaken by another type of saber, which is a blonde-haired anime girl that eats a lot of food and yells Excalibur. But the fine, luscious aroma of the wine could not mask the stench of blood in the beast. Holding my breath, I took a few moments to ponder. Ponder what? Oh, master, you know. Tell me, were you summoned here by the mansion? Okay. Did you come here knowing what kind of place it is? If you're in want of money, you are welcome to help yourself to some of the furniture. And I imagine the villagers will be willing to welcome you if you dress yourself up a bit more like a person. Then you can trade the furniture for food and make your way to a larger town. The wolf was able to fool the innocent little girl simply by putting on clothing after all. Little Red Riding Hood. Also, still, you know, he's still speaking in X's. Not very intelligible. I was gonna say intelligible, but he is intelligible. So what's the opposite of intelligible? Anyway, I don't know. Oh dear, I was afraid you wouldn't understand me. What am I to do? I was in quite the predicament. Nevertheless, it meant a great deal to me that I found someone who did not fear the mansion, be they human or beast. So I decided I should give him my assistance, while doing my best not to agitate him. Say, could you perchance be my new master? Yep, alright. Where are we now? Well, the mansion sat near the ocean. To say it was perched upon a cliff might make it sound rather intimidating, but you could see the beautifully clear sea through the windows, a glittering expanse of emerald and I don't know how to say that word. Turquoise? Emerald and turquoise. I don't know. It's the color of the sea. If the mansion had been in proper condition, it would have been breathtaking against that backdrop. I even wanted to plant orange trees in the garden. Though it's a tumultuous era, the sun still shone bright upon the land, which only served to emphasize the house's unsightliness. Oh yes, perhaps I should give you some more background information. At that period in time, a war had just drawn to a close. The once gorgeous wetlands were festive crows picking at decaying remains. Bodies of soldiers fallen in battle continually washed up on the shores of coastal villages. The people wanted nothing more than for a curtain to draw on that deeply political contest. And when it finally did, the kingdom, with its richly fertile shores, was stripped of its independence, beginning a new era under the new rule. I wonder, I don't know, I'm really bad at my history, but is it around when the French Revolution was happening? Maybe not. Well, actually, maybe that's too late, I guess. I don't know, 1700s, I don't know, not sure exactly what happened in the 1700s, but apparently there was a war, I guess. I mean, there's always a lot of wars, I guess, in history, though. The people were exhausted, their spirits wasted away, and the splendor of the ocean and sky did nothing to help. In my mind, the beast was emblematic of the times, emaciated and enveloped in the scent of blood. But the war came to an end. Thus, the beast did not have to remain a beast, I thought. Did he? And so I endeavored to make the beast more human-like. First, I needed to do something about his appearance. I would draw a bath, scrub away all the filth, and dress him in clothing left in the mansion. However, having sat unused for 50 years, the majority of garments had been devoured by insects and were of little use. So I searched the mansion top and bottom for anything the beast could wear, heated some coals, and set to work ironing what I found. A very dutiful maid. At the time, steam irons had not yet been invented. We used plates of iron heated with coals. They somewhat resembled kettles. Interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that, actually. I even prepared meals for the beast or teach them proper table manners. You know, I'm getting some Beauty and the Beast vibes here. I wonder if that's what the game's all about, actually. Are they, like, twisting the fairy tales that, you know, are popular and everything? It seems like the first one... I mean, I don't know. The first one is hard to pinpoint exactly. It was they mentioned Romeo and Juliet. It was sort of like that, but not exactly. You know, it didn't happen exactly how Romeo and Juliet, you know, happened. So, maybe not, but, you know, this one, though, the second story, definitely, there's probably some kind of Beauty and the Beast thing happening, probably, you know. I even prepared the meals, taught him, tried to teach him table manners, although the mansion in a nearly uninhabitable state of disarray, there's only so much I could do in the kitchen. And the only supplies I had to work with were what was left in the cellar. As such, I was not able to put the cooking skills I had learned in the Flaxen-haired family's time. Now, you mustn't eat with your hands. Do you want to get your fingers and face dirty? You eat using a knife and fork. See, like this. I feel like I'm teaching a young child. Awoo, is what he's saying, probably. Oh my, what are you holding your head for? Oh dear. Perhaps I should be teaching you to speak before table manners. Worry not, we have plenty of time. You didn't act so frightened. Okay, well, I've noticed actually, yeah, there's like sound effects, quote unquote, every time this thing speaks, I guess. So, I don't have to go like blah blah blah. You know, I don't know what is it. What kind of sound am I supposed to make to read this beast's dialogue in the first place? I have no idea. Or perhaps you do not want to be understood at all. Would you be so kind as to tell me your name? You are for now still a guest. It is too soon for me to call you master. Or am I mistaken? Your name. That is what people call you. How about I start by telling you my name? I am called... Oh, and then gets interrupted, obviously. We'll never know the maid's name, maybe until the end. But this thing's name is Be? Something Be? Bestia? Bestia? Bes... I say the Bestia? Bestia? Best girl? No, Bestia? Bessia. Bestia. Is it Bestia or Bessia? There's like T-I-A, so Bestia? Bestia? I'm gonna say Bestia. Bestia. Your name is Bestia? I see. Then that is what I shall call you, Bestia. My, you seem to be rather perplexed as to how I was still alive. He had in fact intended to cause me harm, however, I am a servant of the house. The beast called himself Bestia. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I was wondering as well, yeah. I mean, probably if this beast tried to attack the maid, it probably would fail because, you know, I don't think the maid is a normal person, but anyway. So it's Bestia. It's a curious thing when I learned his name. He seemed to take on new importance in my mind. He was not a mere beast, but a thing called Bestia. Master, should I ever have the chance to hear your name, I am certain you too shall become more substantial a presence. But you must always remember, Master, that even if you do not remember your name, and even you've never known mine, you have always held a special place in my heart. Okay. And thus began my tranquil days with Bestia. Slowly he began to learn the human tongue, and I was, to be quite honest, rather thrilled. To be certain, I was afraid of the beast, but my fear was not so strong as my elation that there was someone else in the mansion, someone to whom I could speak, and someone that might become my master. Come now, you must pull weeds out at the roots or they will soon grow back. This is a task that requires perseverance. You do it like this, see? There you go. Grass. Grass. Oh, did you not expect that? Well, appears to be many plants' surface is actually all connected within the soil. This is a task that requires a man's strength. If there were other surface, they could do it. So I apologize for making you tend to the garden, future master. Or perhaps, now that you're all dressed up, do you wish to leave the mansion and find someone to fool, as the wolf did the sweet little girl? Have you no interest in remaining in such a disheveled house? Nint. What? Go on. Not want leave. Oh my, is that so? If you wish to stay, then I shall not stop you. On the contrary, I will gladly attend to you. A free house and a free maid, you know? What more can you ask for, I guess? I'm waiting for the person who is to become my master. Forever waiting. I shall be able to watch over you to the day you depart this world, old and wrinkled. Do you not believe me? Are you interested in becoming the master of this house? Will be. I have to wonder if you know what you're saying, although it matters little whether you do or not. Oh my, look at that. Now this brings back memories. This is called a rose. Do you know what a rose is? It is a type of flower. No. This beast person learns pretty fast. You would think, you know, someone that doesn't know language at all wouldn't pick up the language in such a short amount of time. But, do not know. I see. Then allow me to teach you. What you have here is not a real rose. The real rose is wilted or sleeping in the soil. This is called an accessory. It is something women wear. The beast held an ornamental white rose in his hands. An object someone sometime meant to give to someone else. Curiously, the white rose was just as stunning as it had been the day it was made, despite being buried in the earth for so many years. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's the same rose that Mel gave to the white-haired lady. I hear roses make wonderful gifts. He stared intently at the decorative rose. I had presumed the beast will either discard it disinterestedly or destroy it, but much to my surprise, Bestia held it gently in his hands, as though it were something precious to him. Again, I'm getting some Beauty and the Beast vibes here. It's probably not gonna end the same way as the Disney version, is all I'm saying. Are you perchance considering giving it to me? So you are not. Very well. Is there someone else you would like to give it to? In that moment, a thought floated through my mind. The thing I had found in the pool of blood in the cellar was a monstrous creature indeed, but perhaps that was not, at his core, what he truly was. So I asked him a question. What is it that you desire, Bestia? This mansion fulfills people's desires. Do they? Does it? If you yearn for something... One... Live. Peace. Look at that filthy thing. A beast! It's a beast! It's eating goddamn sand. You really that hungry? Beast, you foul creature! Stay the hell back. Get any closer. Filthy beast. And I'll kill you! Okay. So most likely, yeah. How this creature came to this place in the first place, I guess, was because he was driven off, maybe? For some reason. Most likely his appearance. Like, what does he even look like? I mean, all we saw so far is just like he's a blurry image, so I don't know. Is he like covered in fur or something? Or is he just, you know, maybe he's just not very nice looking and people just assume because he hasn't taken a shower for so long. People just assume that it's like a creature, but it's actually just a person. I don't know. Well, several days passed by. As Bestia began to act more like a person, the mansion followed suit, slowly becoming more habitable, though not yet back to his former glory. No flowers grew in the garden, but neither were there weeds infesting it. The dusty corridors, shattered windows, rust-covered kitchen gradually returned to their proper states. Bestia learned how to change his own clothes and how to draw a bath. No longer did they have to wait on him hand and foot. He could take care of a number of things all by himself. What we lacked for food he acquired from the forest. Never did he go to purchase supplies from the village, rather he captured hares and gathered herbs hidden in the overgrowth. There were days without incident, and though such a life may be one for excitement, peace is something you mustn't take it for granted. Those who have it cast it aside, finding the leisurely flow of time dull. Only those who have never experienced it truly know how precious it is. Bestia appeared to be content. He wore an expression of solitary serenity. Is anyone there? And then one day a crack formed in the uneventful tranquility. Is anyone in there? Could you borrow some food? I don't need that much. Some food and water. Just a little, that's all I need. Bestia looked over at me as if seeking my aid. Ironic, no? It was the visitor who was truly in need of aid. I pondered it for a few moments, deciding that I could simply turn away someone calling upon the mansion. Bestia ordered me not to let him in. I would have followed his instructions, but he said nothing. Okay, this guy. He has his own sprite, by the way. Oh, thank God, someone's here. I was afraid he was deserted. You said you were in need of sustenance. Yes. It doesn't have to be much. Anything to quench this thirst. I got lost, and it's been several days. Give me a few minutes, I will find... Let him in. A firm, deep voice came from behind me. Okay, so it's a deep... I don't know what kind of voice to give him, so... Deep voice, alright. I was quite startled. When had the beast learned to act so much like a human? When had he learned to speak so clearly and to behave so much like a master? Upon seeing Bestia, a look of terror appeared to cross the wanderer's face for a moment. To my eyes, Bestia was the very image of the head of a house, but to an outsider he probably appeared to be nothing more than a beast in man's clothing. Prepare him a meal and a bed. I suspect he's quite tired. Thank you very much. With a time the fear drained from the man's face, Bestia sat precariously on the border between man and beast. Though he still had his doubts, the wanderers revised his first impression, deciding Bestia was human. As the wolf had fooled the little girl in the forest, he too has succeeded in playing the role of a man. I thought I was a goner for a while there, but you really came to my rescue. And a meal like this on top of that? You really didn't have to. Though I guess that's not an appropriate thing to say as I'm eating. What kind of meat is this? Hare. Oh, it's damn tender for a rabbit. And here I thought it was beef. You have quite the skilled chef. Oh, is she the one who cooked this? Is she your wife? Oh, no, I'm merely a servant. A female servant, huh? Don't see that very often. This mansion's just full of surprises. I can hardly believe it. Lost for days, and as soon as I think I'm dead, there it is. Thinking back on it now, it's miraculous. But why are you two living alone in a house on a cliff? Oh, I beg your pardon. Asking so many questions without telling you about myself. My apologies, just a little too excited to finally see other people. I'm a merchant, I do international trade. Until a few years back, spice exports pretty much all came from one place. Now that we established trade routes of our own, my country's fighting tooth and nail to push its exports. In fact, some have lost a few teeth in the fight already. But that's just how it works. It's a cutthroat world. You do what you must to survive. That's just how it works, the merchant said. A sorrowful look in his face. He was quite clearly putting on a show, though. Confidence in himself and his homeland radiated from that man. I came to this land to do business, but much to my chagrin, I somehow ended up lost in the forest. Interesting, by the way, that this mansion, I guess, is not very close to a town anymore. You know, when we were following Mel and Nelly, they seemed pretty close to like a village or something, but not anymore, I guess. Probably because of the war. Maybe the town has already been abandoned at this point and nobody lives there anymore. Or something has been destroyed, and, you know, this lonely house is the only thing left, surrounded by a forest, most likely. Had I wandered around for much longer, I have lost the chance to ever see my beloved again. Your beloved? Yes, sir. I'm constantly out on business, so we only get to see each other a few times a year. But she always waits for my return. I'd like to introduce you to her if I ever get the chance. She's a pretty girl, if not especially striking. Is that so? The merchant was a man of many words, and I, for one, did not mind a lively supper table. Though I know not how Bestia felt, at the very least I was glad we had invited the wanderer to the mansion. He was, after all, holding a proper conversation with someone, and he seemed to be having success concealing his piercing, beast-like gaze. However... Oh, right. I stopped by the village before entering the forest, and I heard a bone-chilling tale before, or rather, I heard a bone-chilling tale there. No, wait, no, there is a village, I guess. But I guess, I don't know, it's weird, because I guess the village is... Or maybe it's because the path to the village... Maybe the village is still there, it's just the path to the village is blocked by trees now, because no one bothered to keep up the paths, maybe? You know, it's all overgrown and everything. I imagine. Anyway. As soon as the merchant brought up the subject, a palpable tension spread through the room. They say there have been sightings of a beast. It's a creature unlike anything anyone's seen before. Not a wolf or a bear or anything like that. It even attacked the village once, killing several people. Thankfully, the men managed to drive it out. But the creature is still alive. There's nothing that's more scary than the vicious beast. So, you should keep an eye out. Wouldn't want to accidentally let a murderous beast in your home. At the villager's insistence, I had the smithy forge me a knife. Is the knife? Huh? With you now? Well, yeah, I've got it on me. Only good to defend myself with, but it's better than... That knife. You brought that knife. You're here to kill me with that knife. What? You're going to stab me again and again with that knife, like they did last time. That's why you're here, isn't it? What are you talking about? What's gone into you? Stab and stab and stab. Calm down. What are you so worried about? I'm not gonna hurt you with this. What? What did you say? Just back to X's. Ah! I like to imagine that wolf, or I like to imagine that before the wolf ate the poor little girl, he said, "Is this what I always looked like?" That voice. What's your problem? What's wrong? Talk like a human. It's me. Stop! Stay back! Get any closer, I'll stab you to death.
You laughed, but you only just realized I'm a beast.
Meh.
That's right. I'm a breeze. I killed them.
Stay back.
They'll do the same to you.
Ah, help. Okay. Oh, the merchant is probably dead. In his hand, Bestia held his sword. Oh, okay. Perhaps it had been hidden under the table, or maybe behind his chair. Regardless, it was as though he had expected this to happen. He was ready, I guess. Ready to start slashing. The merchant kicked aside a chair, attempting to flee, but Bestia closed the distance in an instant, knocking him back. He had lost his balance and slammed against the wall, but still he made to escape. The beast stood blocking his path. No, please, stop this. Don't kill me. My beloved is waiting for me back home. Can't leave her behind.
Then why should I care?
What? Ah, okay, that's a good scream. Now backstab, like in Dark Souls. A dreadful scream echoed through the dining room. I reflexively covered my ears. Please help! Someone, anyone!
No one's going to come for you. The mansion's a long way from town.
Help! A woman, where is she? Why isn't she here? She was just... Ah!
You'll kill me if I don't kill you. So I must show you that I will. I must show you that I'm serious. I must kill you or you won't understand. You just won't understand. If I don't show you firsthand, you won't understand. I'll make you understand. I'll make your flesh and bones understand. Kill. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
There's a lot of killing going on. Grah. Kill you! Or, rather,
Kill you.
Ah. Monster.
That's right, I am.
Okay.
A beast.
Yeah. A lot of ways to just say, I'm going to kill you. Oh, he's having the time of his life, though. How fun. Murder is so great. I love killing. Hee hee, haha. Hee hee, haha, oohoo. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of laughter. That's all I'm saying. Well, they had been enjoying a peaceful meal around the table together just minutes earlier. So, what had triggered this? If I were to guess, the merchant saying the word knife is what caused the beast to snap. A simple, small thing set him off. It's his trigger word, I guess. I cannot comprehend it. Bestia, who has said he had wished for peace, was staring down at the ravaged corpse of the merchant, with a look of ecstasy on his face. Master, can you understand how he felt? Even just a little? Did he not yearn for peace, but for slaughter? When everyone else is dead, then that's how true peace is acquired, right? No. Also, different intermission music, it seems. Alright. Oh, okay. Now we're here. Who's this person? Pauline? Alright.